So hey guys, what's going on everyone? It's the Beast3365 here, back again with another video. Today guys, I'm going to be showcasing you all my best settings for the beta so far that I've been using, and show you guys what the best settings are for this game personally, what I really like using. So first off, we're going to go to the controller settings. We're going to have our horizontal stick sensitivity as 5 and vertical stick sensitivity as 5. You guys want to kind of have a sensitivity that's not so slow, not so high, just like kind of in the middle. I would prefer not going past 10 or 11 because that could drastically decrease your aim, make your aim more or less viable. So I definitely just have it like having horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity as 5 and 5. Now for ADS sensitivity multiplier, I have it as 0.70. From 0.70 to like 0.90, I think will be the best ADS sensitivity multiplier, and all these other zooms that you have here for like if you want to use on your optics and stuff like that, just leave as default. So yeah guys, those are like my best sensitivity settings for there. My best button layout preset, you can use my favorite one I really enjoy using is the deep tactical flip, which basically it lets you aim down sights with L1 and R1, and you can also crouch or prone with R3 instead of the circle button. So basically makes it so you can easily drop shot more often with the R3 button instead of the circle button. It was actually really helpful. And so yeah, so that just changes your R3 button with crouch and prone and stuff like that, so you can like drop shot more easily. Also guys, if you want to use like bumper jumper flipped or bumper jumper tactical flipped, I highly recommend you can play with these settings as well if you really want to. It basically turns your controller into like a scuff controller. So basically, instead of jumping with the X button, you can actually jump with the L2 button. So basically you have like as a back button to jump with L2, which you can L2 as it says there, jump or stand, which is also really helpful. I'd highly recommend either playing on tactical flipped, or you can change the bumper jumper flipped or bumper jumper tactical flipped. So those are like my best button layout presets I highly recommend using. Now for L1 and R1, I kind of like using this as flip. Basically it helps me aim and shoot faster, so it actually helps me a lot by just pressing L1 and R1. And those were my best settings I actually like using with the buttons. Now aim response curve type, this is very important guys. Make sure you guys leave this as dynamic or linear. Basically what dynamic does, it basically shows you right here, reverse S-curve mapping for 5-8 control. Basically lets you have better sticky aim, so you're able to like snap onto enemies more faster, be able to lock onto enemies, lock onto enemy targets more faster and stuff like that, and your aim will actually be really good when using this aim response curve type. It's actually really helpful. So I recommend using linear or dynamic. Standard is alright, but the best ones for me are either dynamic or linear. Now the next setting is very important as well, controller vibration. You want to leave this as off. Basically what this does, it makes your controller vibrate and it kind of really messes up your aim, and that's a huge disadvantage for this game. So I'd highly just recommend leaving that as off instead of on. Now target aim assist is the next most important setting you must have for gameplay. So basically you want to leave this as on, and your target aim assist mode, you can definitely use legacy or default. Those are the highly recommended ones I actually really like using in both the Vanguard beta and also Cold War. So default Vanguard is kind of like the traditional aim slow down near the target. It's kind of like standard from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and legacy is also from Cold War as well. So it's the alternate aim slow down near target. So yeah, legacy or default are the best ones to use for the beta. I highly recommend not using precision or focusing. This highly messes up your aim, and it can get quite annoying if you use precision or focusing. It really messes up your aim, and I do not like these. I actually hate these aim assist settings. I tried using them in Cold War, they're so bad, and I couldn't get used to them. So definitely try using default or legacy. Now for the next one, these other settings I just leave as default. As you guys can see right here, I don't really mess around with these settings too much. So yeah, just leave everything as default the way it is. Advanced controls, now this is also very important. The L2 button, dead zone, and the R2 button, dead zone, which this actually shows you, explains to you here, defines the minimum percentage of the button press threshold that allows the controller L2 button input to be considered. So basically, I can't really explain what this actually does. I just leave this as 4 and 4. I saw from other people's videos that other people have had this really low, so definitely just keep this as the lowest as possible for L2 button, R2 button, dead zone. Now for left stick minimum input, dead zone, right stick minimum input, dead zone, just definitely leave this as 13 and 13 as the lowest as you can. Basically, what this does, it definitely it makes it so that you have more or less stick drift. But if you guys are having like a lot of stick drift into the game, so basically what this does, it makes your left analog stick move forward like a lot. So basically, like it moves whenever you're not even touching your controller, which is kind of annoying. So I just leave this as 13 and 13. Now for left stick max input dead zone and right stick maximum input dead zone, just leave this as default if you want 99 or 99. But if you guys really want, what it actually explains to you here, what it says is adjust how far the left stick needs to be pushed to produce maximum input. Decrease the value to reach maximum input of less physical stick movement. Basically, what this means, guys, if you guys are having a lot of hard times like trying to hold down the L button, like your left analog stick when you're trying to like run and sprint and stuff like that, I highly recommend putting this down all the way. That way you can just like tap the analog stick button instead of like holding down the analog stick button all the time when you're trying to run and sprint and stuff like that. So definitely keep this as low as you can. If you guys don't want to hold down the analog stick button, you can just tap it. So it makes it a whole lot easier for you whenever you're sprinting a lot in the game. So definitely just leave that as you guys want. It's just personal preference. And then these other settings for the advanced gameplay, I just leave that as default. We don't really want to mess around too much with those. So yeah, guys, those are my favorite controller settings I really like using in the beta so far. Now my next settings I'm going to show you guys are the graphics settings. The brightness settings, you definitely want to have this as 65. Basically what this shows you, it says to you adjust the brightness until the center logo is barely visible, so you can see the visible. It's basically so you can see the logo as soon as it's visible. So as you guys can see here, I just leave it at 65 so I can see the logo right there. It's barely visible. I can actually see it right there. So yeah, guys, just leave it as like that. And then camera movement, this is also very important. Basically what it makes your camera do. So if you leave that as 75% or 100%, which is default, basically makes your camera shake more often when you're in multiplayer games and stuff like that. So I highly recommend just using this as 50%, at least 50%. Now the next two most important settings to have off are these. So world motion blur, you definitely want to have off, and weapon motion blur, you definitely want to have off. It's basically it shows you right here, removes weapon motion blur effects, and when you leave this as on, it adds weapon motion blur effects while moving, aiming, and firing, which is really another huge disadvantage to this game. So I highly just recommend leaving this as off. It drastically makes your gameplay more and more confusing as well when you're like moving and like you're moving with your gun and firing with your gun. So just definitely leave that as off. And then also my favorite audio settings. These are my best audio settings I really like using in the beta. So first off, master volume, you definitely want to keep this as 100. You can also play an audio test as you will see here. I'm going to be playing an audio test for the master volume, and as you guys can hear, and you can actually hear when the guns are being fired and stuff like that, which is really cool. And then for the next settings, music volume, I just leave that as 10. You guys don't really want to have it as loud as you possibly want it to. Just leave it as 10, because this is really like it messes up your game volume, like not game volume, but whenever you're like playing inside the game, you're trying to listen for footsteps, whenever you're trying to hear the game in general, it's kind of really annoying, because sometimes if there's in-game music, it kind of gets really annoying. So I just leave that as 10 I don't leave the music volume so high up in the game. I just leave it as low as possibly as I can. So yeah, guys. Sound effects volume, I just leave this as 100. Basically, sound effects volume helps you hear the footsteps inside the game, and also the gun sounds as loudly as you can. So basically, you can hear the gun sounds very loudly, and also the footsteps is also very important, guys. And then also, dialogue volume is one next most important thing. So if you guys leave this as 100 as dialogue volume, I specifically don't recommend you guys leaving this as 100. Basically, what it does, it makes Captain Butcher like loud. It's like it makes him like scream really loud inside your ear, and basically he actually really bad. So I just leave that dialogue volume as 10. Maybe you can go down even lower if you guys really want to, but it basically makes it so like the volume and stuff like that for the voices are toned down quite a bit. So yeah, I just leave that as dialogue volume as 30. You don't want to leave the dialogue volume as really loud, so it kind of hurts your ears and stuff like that. So I definitely recommend putting this down as low as you can. And then after, also the next best audio mix I like use, yeah, these are the 4 different audio mixes you can use in the game. Is either home theater, TV speaker, headphones, or night mode. But hopefully in the future, when the game does originally release in November, hopefully they put in like other audio mixes like boost high or boost low or even super crunch. But the best audio mix I actually really like enjoying using is definitely headphones. You definitely want to have headphones as the best audio mix for playing Vanguard. And then Killstreak music, I just leave that as off. Mono audio, I just leave that as off. It basically explains it to you here. Audio is split between left and right audio channels to provide directional sound. So yeah, guys, these are my best settings so far for the beta. Hope you guys all really enjoyed. Also, quick reminder, also voice chat, just leave that on as default. I don't really mess around with these settings as well that much. So and yeah, guys, these are my best audio settings, best graphics settings, and best controller settings I really like using in the beta so far. So hopefully all you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and also make sure to stay updated on when I upload. Make sure to turn on that notification bell on when I upload again to my YouTube channel. And yeah, guys, hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. And until next time, guys, peace.